Hey, so on page 162, what you're just doing is basically rectangular solids and cubes. Okay, we already did the first two exercises before that, before we stopped for the Christmas exam. Okay, so these aren't given to you in your notes, as in they're not in your tables. So you gotta know these off by heart. Okay, so in any rectangular cube, as an example, if it had a height of 8, a length of 10, and a breadth of 6, you can be asked two types of questions. You can be asked for the volume, or you can be asked for the surface area. So if you're asked for the volume, it's simply you multiply all three of them together. So you'd multiply 8 centimeters by 6 centimeters by 10 centimeters, and you probably get 480 centimeters squared or centimeters cubed? Cubed. Okay. Shh. If you can fill it, it's cubed. It's volume. If you paint it, it's area. Now, the next thing after that is it might ask you about the surface area. Now, the surface area is completely different because what you have is you have 6 sides, okay? And on the 6 sides, there's identical sides on each. There's 2 sets of identical sides. So as an example, the green side that just shaded in there, that's 6 by 8. So you have 2 of them that are 6 by 8 in size. So what happens when you do 6 by 8 in the calculator? 48. There's 2 of them that are size 48 centimeters squared. So you'll have 48 plus another 48, and then once you're done with the green sides, what you'll have to look at next is the top and bottom. So the top and bottom, as you can see, are this blue side here, and then there'll be one on the bottom that's exactly the same size. What's the size of the blue one? Not 8 by 10. That's the side one. I'm talking about the bottom and top. Forget I even shaded the bottom. Just look at the top. Excuse me. It's 6 by 10 because it's 6 across and 10 long. So it's 6 by 10, which is what size? 60 centimeters squared. Mick. 60 centimeters squared. So it's 2 60s. Okay. Now finally we have the side one. There's 2 sides. So what we have to do next is we have to look into the side ones. And what's the size of the side one? What'd you say? 80. So there's 2 80s as well. And then you just add them all together. You get 160 plus 120, which is 280. 280 plus 96 is 376. Now, this, unlike the last one, is centimeters squared, not centimeters cubed. Everybody happy enough with that? Okay. Yeah, surface area. You can unravel it into a you can unravel surface area into one of these. So you can see it's a flat surface. Okay. So if you can fill it, it's volume. But if you can unravel it and into a 2D image, it's surface area. Okay. So that's the surface area right there. Okay. Now, the next one, guys. Shh. Next one here is this. What's the difference between a cube and a cuboid? Cube and a cuboid? Okay. And, yep, you're right. A rectangular version of it. And this one here, all the sides are the same length. So if they're all size 5, as an example, what can you tell me the size of one of the faces is going to be, area-wise? I'm talking about area now. 25. Each side is going to be 25 because they're all 5 by 5s. And how many sides do you have? 6. Look at dice. You have 6 sides. So 6 multiplied with 25 gets you your 150 centimeters squared. All these boxes have 6 sides. Okay. Now that's area. Now we're on to volume. Anybody tell me how to get the volume of that? 5 by 5 by 5. All you have to do is multiply the length by itself 3 times to get the volume. Remember, volume is length by width by height. But if the length, width and the height are all the same thing, you're basically just multiplying the same number by itself 3 times. 125 centimeters squared or centimeters cubed? Centimeters cubed. Volume is cubed, and we did that first. Yeah, sorry. Now, one other thing you need to know, and once again, this is very common, and they expect you to know it. This is common knowledge, but it's not in your tables again. Is that 1 liter is 1,000 centimeters cubed? Okay. And there's one other thing I gotta do, which is, and this is probably one of the more important parts as well. Okay. Do you remember what? Yeah, we'll do it this way. We'll use the cube here to the right. So they need you to be able to convert meters cubed into centimeters cubed. Okay. So the way, I don't have this learned off at all. The way I do it is like this. Okay. If I'm talking about we'll start off with area as an example. Okay. So if I start off with there we go. Okay. If I start off with a square as an example, okay, and this square is 1 meter squared. Is everybody happy enough with that? Can anybody tell me what 1 meter squared is in terms of centimeters squared? Now that's the common answer, and that's what nearly everybody will tell you. Okay. Now it's 1 meter by 1 meter. Would you agree with that? Okay, you'd be right. 1 meter is 100 centimeters. That's one dimensional. That's just a line. Okay? When you're talking about 2 dimensions, as in area, what you're going to be talking about is this. You're going to be talking that 1 meter squared. Do you know what a meter is again? It's 100 centimeters. So if I change both of them to 100 centimeters, and I multiply 100 by 100, what do I get? 1 meter squared is 10,000 centimeters squared. The best thing to do is just to change it, is to find out what 1 meter cubed is, or sorry, 1 meter squared is, then change 1 meter into 100 centimeters, and figure out what's the difference between the two of them. What's the currency difference, so to speak. Now, if you were to look at this one here, I might ask you guys, what's 1 meter cubed? 1 meter cubed in terms of centimeters cubed. Can anybody give me the answer to that? Or how to get it even? Close. How would you do it though? By 100 by 100 by 100. Okay? Because if this is 1 meter cubed, what that means it's 1 meter to 1 meter across, 1 meter the other way, and 1 meter high. Is everybody agreed that that's 1 meter cubed? 1 in every direction? Now if I want to change that to centimeters, what can I do? I change them all to hundredths. Okay, so I just rub them out, change them all into hundredths. It's still the same size, isn't it? It's just me giving it to you in a different measurement. Okay, and what's 100 by 100 by 100? A million. So it's a million. That's not a 1, that's a comma, but we'll get rid of them. It's a million centimeters cubed. Is that right? You remember that? Okay, let's try that out now actually. Pause it here. Most of you knew what to do with these ones, the first 3 right away. You said 1 meter is 100 centimeters, that's great. 1 meter squared is basically the same thing as 100 centimeters multiplied by 100 centimeters, which will give you 10,000. Most of you got that right as well. Then you did the 1 meter cubed, which is a meter in every direction, and you wrote that as 100 by 100 by another 100. You multiplied that out, and you got 10,000. So you got a million. So that's a 1 and 6 zeros. Okay, you did 100 by 100 by 100. Now, where problems really kicked in, you listening? Where problems kicked in was at 5.7 meters. Okay, so 5.7 meters. Okay, what that would be is it's 5.7 times bigger than this number here. All you gotta do is multiply 10,000 by 5.7. Okay, so you should have got 57,000. Okay, It's 5.7 times bigger. I see a lot of people went for this. I think he's went for 5.7 by 5.7. It's not necessary. All what you need, anytime you're ever doing any of these questions, is all you ever need to do is write down what the first three are. So basically what these three, you just need to write down what these three here are. And then you can find anything from those three. See 5.7 meters squared? It's very similar to 1 meter squared, except it's 5.7 times bigger. So I multiplied the answer for that by 5.7. And then the same way I multiplied 6.78 is 6.78 times bigger than 1 million. So it'll be 6,780,000. Okay, anybody get all them right? Okay, good. Okay. Now, we're now getting into some of the written questions now. Okay, ready? Okay, you have an open rectangular tank, so there's no top to it, okay? It's full of water. The volume of the water in the tank is 2.4 litres. Okay, volume equals 2.4 litres. Its measurements are in centimetres. Can somebody tell me a problem with me doing the question at the moment? What's the problem? Two different units. Got to change them all into the one unit. Which unit should I change? Should I change centimetres into litres or litres into centimetres? Litres into centimetres. Because you never heard of me saying I'm 3.5 litres tall. We don't use that, okay? So it's obvious that litres has to change to centimetres. Plus it gives you a nice whopper now here about what to do. Okay, so we're going to multiply this by 2.4. So if this is 2.4 litres, how many centimetres cubed is that going to be? So 2,400, okay? Now, how do you get the volume of a tank? You multiply the length by the breadth, then by the height. So it's going to be 20 multiplied by 15 multiplied by whatever h is. Now the problem is we don't know what h is, but we know it's going to be 300 times h is 2,400. Any idea how to get h on its own? Divided by 300. So all over 300 gets you 8 centimetres. Okay, that's its height. Now its surface area is a trick question. Can anybody in the class tell me why the surface area is a trick question? Has no top, so only has 5 sides, not 6 sides. These are the little things they try to get you on. They try to get you to go on autopilot. You go, oh, it's double every side. For this question, they'll just use one little piece of language. They won't say no top in the test. They'll just say open rectangular tank. Okay. So anybody know how to get the surface area? Sorry? Okay, it's 20 by 15, Sean. What side is that? Which is it, the bottom, the top, the side, or the ends? The 20 by 15, I'd argue, is the bottom and the top. But there is no top. So it's just the bottom. So 20 by 15 gets me 20 by 15? 300 for the bottom. Okay. Now, let's go for the side. Okay, what's the side? 8 times 15 for the side. How many sides do we have? Oh, sorry, 8 times 20. Oh, sorry, we have different definitions of the sides. I call that one at the end as opposed to the side. Okay, it's splitting hairs, to be honest. 8 by 20, guys? 160. 160 twice or once? Twice. 320. And finally, the ends, which would be this green part here and its corresponding end there. It's going to be 8 times 15. 15 across, 8 up. And 8 times 15 is 120. There's 2 of them, which means it's 240. 300 plus 320 plus 240. 860. Centimeters squared or centimeters cubed? If you can fill it, it's centimeters cubed. If you're talking about the area is always squared. Area is 2-dimensional. This is 2-dimensional. This is a 2D This is the box in 2D. You're allowed to put the area in 2D. I can't put volume in 2D. Okay? Yeah. Because that's the blue side. Two of the sides were of size 160 in area. Okay, so there's two sides. The 120 came from 8 multiplied with 15 at the end. Okay. Alright guys, so that's it. That's the surface area done. We'll move on. Okay, yeah, we gotta do that one. We gotta try this one here. Okay. Anybody class tell me, volume of a cube is 64. So volume of a cube is 64. What's the significance of the word cube? All sides are the same. So what you did, if you were to draw a rough diagram of this cube, okay, you multiplied some length, multiplied by another length, multiplied by another length, and your answer was 64. So x cubed equals 64. What does this mean in English? What does this question actually mean? It means what number do you multiply by itself 3 times to get 64? Is there a button that will do that? Where is it? So this button here, if you press oh dear, keep pressing mode. Shift that. If you press 3 in there, excuse me. If you press 3 in there, it means what number did you multiply by itself 3 times? When you put the 64 in there, it says the answer is 64 once you do this. 4. Shh. Okay. Okay. I press shift. I press the button above the X the block there. It's beside the log button. I put a 3 in there because that means the number is multiplied by itself 3 times. I put the 64 in there because that's the answer. And you get 4. It's not technically a square root sign, it's a cube root sign. It has a 3 in front of it. If a square root sign, it automatically means what number when you multiply it by itself twice gives you that answer. Okay, now 4 centimeters. Finally, surface area of a cube is 24. What would that mean? Surface area of a cube. How do you get surface area again? Sorry? How do you get surface area again? You have 6 sides that are the same size. Would you agree with that? And you get the area of one side and you multiply the answer by 6. So it's x by x, which is x squared, and it's 6x squared. Another way of thinking it would be just divide 24 by 6. What happens when you divide 24 by 6? 24 by 6? 4. You can say that one side is equal to 4. One of the areas equals 4. Or you can say 6x squared equals 24. You'll find you get the same answer. Divide by 6 and you get x squared equals 4. One of the areas equals 4. Square root it and what you get? 2. X equals 2. Okay? Now, I would have lost marks there because I automatically assumed getting the length was the end of the question. It wasn't. What is the end of this question? Find the volume. How do you get the volume of a cube again? 2 by 2 by 2. The volume. It's going to get me 8. You got to multiply length by width by height to get that. Okay. One of these ones and then I'll let you start yourselves. Okay. 14. A Julie buys a rectangular block of gold of length set 4, width 3, height 2. 1 centimeter cubed of gold costs €500. Calculate the cost of the block of gold. First of all, cost is given in terms of weight or by volume? Volume. 1 centimeter cubed costs you €500. We're assuming the block is much bigger. It's going to cost us a lot more money. 1 centimeter cubed costs it, right? So what I do is length by width by height, which is 4 by 3 by 2. 24 centimeters cubed is the size of this block. Every centimeter cubed costs you €500. So you're going to multiply 24 by €500, and what you get? I'm pretty sure it's was it 12,000? Okay, 12,000. This cost me €12,000 if that was made of gold. Now, here's where they start messing around here, because they start trying to give you different units, and that's where they really try to make you earn your marks. Okay, they go, a jeweler needs 250 millimeters cubed of gold to make a gold ring. How many rings can be made from the block? The block is 24 centimeters cubed, and they're talking about 250 millimeters cubed. The two of them aren't compatible at this point in time, are they? Different units. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go through that. Remember that procedure we did earlier? Okay. 1 centimeter is how much millimeters? You can always look at your ruler to find out. Huh? 10 millimeters. Okay. Next thing. 1 centimeter cubed is how many millimeters cubed? 100, because you have to multiply it by itself twice. And then finally, to get what we're looking for is we're looking for centimeters cubed. Okay. So what we're going to do next is 1 centimeters cubed. How many millimeters cubed? 10 by 10. It's 3-dimensional by another 10, which is going to get me 1,000. Okay. Now, 1,000 millimeters cubed. Okay. You got 24 by 1,000 is what? How big is this block then? If I was to put it in millimeters cubed, 24,000 exactly. It's 24 times bigger than 1 centimeter cubed. That makes it 24,000. Now you're looking at your 250. Your entire block is 24,000. The size of one ring is 250. How can I find how many rings I can make then? Divide it. So the big number divided by the small number. 24,000 divided by 250. 96 rings. Okay. Now that I've made that 96 rings, each ring is sold for €150. Calculate the amount of profit we're going to make. Going to multiply 96 by 150. $14,400, yeah. And then, how much did it cost us in the first place? €12,000. Take away your €12,000, and you get a profit of 2,400. Okay.